Yeah, there's something, I don't know, at least me personally, I've always found something very nihilistic about the idea that these pharaohs are going to use all this slave labor just to build elaborate tombstones for themselves. But, the idea that, they're going to construct something that's actually going to be a benefit for society and culture. I mean, it gives you a much more hopeful view of, what the pyramids could be symbolically.
Yes. Well, all hydroelectric dams around the world have passages that point to stars. But the reality is, those dams were built to help people, if you will. They built the High Aswan Dam in Egypt, and a lot of that electricity is used, believe it or not, to pump water. So they stopped the yearly inundation with the High Aswan Dam, use that generated electricity to pump water so they can irrigate beyond the floodplain and have more than just irrigate the land more than just once in the yearly inundation. So in ancient Egypt, they needed a water pump. In modern Egypt, they also use a massive water pumping system. So it's just it just makes sense to me that they went to that effort to have a huge return on investment, just like we built our roads and our power networks and all of that. It's infrastructure that improves our lives, and that's what the Great Pyramid was built for.
Yeah, and I mean, you you've kind of alluded a few times to the idea, and I hate to call it this, but pop culture wise, the Atlantean myth, right? That there was at one point in time this one like original great society, that initial city state that was able to make all these accomplishments before they destroyed themselves. Do you think there's any credence to the idea of a civilization that was around before historical records?
Well, certainly, our species has been around a long time, and civilizations, they come and they go, and kingdoms come and go, and technologies come and go. Brain surgery. Wow, that's modern. Well, in ancient Peru and all those places, they have skulls that show brain surgery and that they've survived. So they had,
Really?
oh yes, terrapanning is what it's called. Very fascinating. And aspirin is what is made synthetically now, but it originally was from plants down in South America. So doctors up here will tell you, oh, take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning. But the witch doctors had people chew on the leaves that they got the same effect from aspirin. So all ancient civilizations had some rather high technologies. Even ancient Egypt, the Baghdad battery, they had birth control, they had C-sections, and a whole host of things we probably will never know about. Certainly, there was some precision, large scale precision stone cutting that was being accomplished that Egyptology can't reproduce. So yeah, Atlantis. Yeah, there might have been. Even the Bible in the fifth generation from Adam, they were doing metallurgy, music, and a whole other host of things that a civilization would do. So and
Mhm.
have cities. So yeah, there were probably the Atlanteans, but it's hard to say. What we're trying to do is redevelop this ancient technology of the Great Pyramid water pump to help our modern but very troubled world. If you can pump water real cheaply, you can use it to irrigate marginal farmland, you can use it to generate electricity and all of that type of thing. In fact, that's what the Great Pyramid was built for. They wanted to both irrigate and generate electricity, power machinery. So that's what we're trying to do is redevelop that ancient it's efficient and non-polluting technology for to help have an alternative to electricity.
Huh. So I guess to kind of backtrack a little bit. So what era, where this brain surgery done in Peru? Because I know that the Romans had they would, often like, drill holes in the skull, like alleviate pressure and that sort of thing. Are we talking about something like along the same lines?
Well, just look up brain surgery in South America. Google that, and you'll come up with some crazy skulls that have some like 1 inch square openings and other things, and they can tell that the person survived because the injury kind of remodeled itself, if you will. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there was a lot of it, and I mean lots of examples. I was in the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia, where they have the Elephant Man and a whole bunch of other odd skeletons and things like that. And they had a lot of skulls that were from South America that had done brain surgery. They think they may have been doing it for religious purposes, because if you touch metal like to a brain, they might have hallucinate or whatever. I mean, who knows?
Right.
But the point is, the technical part, they were able to use some sort of anesthesia and perform these very exotic operations on people. It's just one example of ancient high technology that mankind was capable of doing. So it's a crazy world out there. That's not the focus of my research, but it's just something to bring up to acknowledge that there were no primitive civilizations, way back when. Certainly, that includes us. We're a rather primitive civilization when you consider how we treat the environment and each other and that type of thing. So it's we're as primitive as any other civilization ever thought of being, more so maybe.
Yeah, and it seems that we kind of devolve a little bit more every day, because I mean, if you look at it from like a grander scale, I mean, we're still just burning fossil fuels. Like, we're burning fossils that we find in the ground. There's no way that we would ever be able to sustain our society without those. Like, it would collapse overnight. But that's why I'm glad there's guys like you out there that are looking, for these alternatives. So I guess what got you into the idea of, a decentralized, energy efficient, non-polluting energy?
Well, that's what the Great Pyramid is a inspiration for. Certainly at our foundation, which we have a research facility,
Mhm.
we know that you don't need a big stone pyramid in your backyard. We're using polypropylene containers, PVC pipe, valves, and also some custom fabrication to recreate a lot of the technology of the Great Pyramid water pump, certainly at a smaller scale. And we hope to make it so people can use local materials, like in the third world, like barrels and that type of thing, to ultimately be able to pump water in an efficient manner and use that pumped water for a host of purposes. So we're looking for some equipment. We have, a metal lathe and an arc welder and a whole bunch of other stuff, which is quite handy. And even a guy that's helping weld for us, which is a lot more valuable than an Egyptologist, because he can actually do something. And but we're looking for a plasma cutter, which would be very handy in our facility. It's like cutting steel, and also a 3D
Mhm.
printer. So if someone wants to donate either those things or the funding for those things, they can contact our nonprofit foundation. So yeah, but we're making some sub-assemblies, components of various scales to redevelop this ancient technology. If they can do brain surgery in ancient times as well as modern times, and if they can pump water in an efficient manner in ancient times, hopefully we can redevelop it. So funding has been a struggle because it's a breakthrough type technology, but we're making progress every day.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, you're actually, have a hypothesis that you're doing demonstrations to prove. That's a fantastic thing that, a lot of Egyptologists haven't been able to do so far.
I
So,
appreciate
so let
that.
me ask you, was, so were these, initial designs, was that, based off of the research, originally in the Pharaoh's pump, or were these, things that you designed yourself?
Well, it's hard to make a distinction because I'm the founder of the Pharaoh's Pump Foundation. And so we developed, conducted a lot of research that was compiled in both of my books. But we have, board of directors, so pro bono legal counsel, a research
Mhm.
library with published and unpublished materials. And if people want to donate like their book or whatever to our foundation's library, that would be great. And again, a facility. So it's all, and then we have some co-researchers and other people, scholars around the globe now that we're networking with. So it's quite an operation, really.
Oh, awesome. So let me ask you, what you said you're, collaborating with other scholars and academics. So what sort of research are you hoping to accomplish in the near future? And has COVID kind of put a damper on any of that?
COVID has, again, we were going to lead a tour to Egypt, like a 13-day tour that would have been wonderful. The itinerary is still on our website, but the tour is canceled temporarily. And, it was full, but we had to, refund everyone's money and all of that. So, so that's a goal. And then we're also, again, working on the redeveloping this ancient water pumping technology. And those that type of thing is the focus of our research, although there's a lot of other things that we're doing, educational, like being on shows like this to tell people that you don't have to believe what Egyptologists tell you. So you're helping spread the word with your wonderful show and that type of thing. I've written a number of magazine articles and adding to the YouTube channel, adding content for that. And we have a video series on our YouTube channel that people can watch about how the Great Pyramid was assembled using water blocks and barges. So